On July 20th, 1969, the world held its breath. A man named Neil Armstrong, an American astronaut, stepped off a ladder. His boots met the dusty surface of the moon. "That's one small step for man," he said. "One giant leap for mankind." Hundreds of millions watched on television. They saw the grainy images. They heard Armstrong's voice. It was a moment of triumph. The impossible had become real. Humanity had reached another world. The Apollo 11 mission was a culmination of years of work. Thousands of scientists and engineers had dedicated their lives to the project. The risks were enormous, the cost was staggering, but the payoff was immeasurable. For a brief moment, the world seemed united. The Cold War faded into the background. Everyone celebrated this shared achievement. We had touched the moon. We were capable of amazing things. The Apollo program, which landed Armstrong and Aldrin on the moon, was a source of immense national pride for the United States. In the midst of the Cold War, the space race became a symbolic battleground between the US and the Soviet Union. Landing on the moon first was a major victory. The success of Apollo 11 had a profound impact on American society. It inspired a generation of scientists, engineers, and mathematicians. It showed the world what could be achieved through determination and innovation. The images of Earth, a small blue marble suspended in the vastness of space, became iconic. They helped to foster a sense of global citizenship and environmental awareness. We were all part of something much larger than ourselves, but even as the world celebrated, seeds of doubt were being sown. Within a few years of the moon landing, a new and unsettling narrative began to emerge. Some people claimed that the whole thing had been a hoax. In the early 1970s, conspiracy theories began to circulate, suggesting that the moon landing had been faked. These theories gained traction in certain circles. People whispered about suspicious shadows in photographs and the lack of stars in the lunar sky. Books and pamphlets were published, promoting the hoax narrative. Some people claimed that the US government, desperate for a victory in the space race, had staged the entire event on a soundstage. Others suggested that Stanley Kubrick, the famed director of 2001: A Space Odyssey, had been hired to film the landing. These theories, though lacking any credible evidence, resonated with some who distrusted the government or who were simply drawn to the allure of a good conspiracy. The seeds of doubt, once planted, began to take root. The rise of these theories coincided with a growing skepticism towards authority in the wake of the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal. People were more willing to question official narratives. The idea that the government might lie to its citizens no longer seemed so far-fetched. The hoax believers point to what they claim are inconsistencies in the Apollo 11 footage and photographs. One of their most common arguments concerns the shadows cast by the astronauts and objects on the lunar surface. They argue that these shadows should be parallel, given the sun being the only light source. However, the photographs sometimes show shadows falling at different angles. Another point of contention is the American flag planted on the moon. In the footage, the flag appears to wave even though there is no wind on the moon. Hoax proponents argue that this must mean the flag was waving in the breeze of a terrestrial film set. They also question the lack of a blast crater under the lunar module. Surely, they argue, the powerful engine of the lunar module should have created a significant crater during landing. The absence of one, they claim, is further evidence of a staged event. These arguments, while seemingly compelling at first glance, are easily debunked with a little scientific understanding and a dose of common sense. The reality of the situation is far more straightforward than the hoax believers would have you think. One of the more persistent claims made by moon landing deniers involves the Van Allen radiation belts. These belts, discovered in 1958, are two donut-shaped regions of charged particles that surround Earth. They are held in place by Earth's magnetic field. Hoax proponents argue that it would have been impossible for the Apollo astronauts to pass through these belts without receiving a lethal dose of radiation. However, what they fail to consider is the speed at which the Apollo spacecraft traveled through the belts and the shielding that protected the astronauts. The Apollo missions were designed to pass through the thinnest parts of the belts. The astronauts' exposure time was minimized. Furthermore, the spacecraft and the astronauts' spacesuits were designed to provide protection from radiation. The aluminum hull of the spacecraft absorbed a significant amount of radiation. The astronauts' suits also included layers of material specifically designed to shield them from radiation. Another argument put forth by hoax proponents is the absence of stars in the photographs taken on the moon. They claim that if the landings were real, the stars should be clearly visible in the black lunar sky. However, this argument betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of photography. The lunar surface, even though it appears dark, reflects a significant amount of sunlight. This reflected light, combined with the limitations of camera technology at the time, made it impossible to capture both the brightly lit lunar surface and the faint light of stars in the same photograph. The same principle applies to photographs taken on Earth at night. If you try to take a picture of a cityscape at night, you'll likely find that the stars are not visible. This is because the camera's shutter speed needs to be adjusted for the bright city lights, making it impossible to capture the faint light of the stars. Claims of deadly radiation on the moon are also unfounded. While the lunar surface does receive higher levels of radiation than Earth, it is not instantly lethal. The Apollo astronauts spent a relatively short amount of time on the moon, and their spacesuits provided adequate protection from radiation exposure. Despite the overwhelming evidence supporting the moon landing, conspiracy theories persist. Why do some people cling to these beliefs in the face of scientific consensus? The answer lies in the complex interplay of psychology, sociology, and cultural factors. For some, believing in conspiracies provides a sense of control in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. It allows them to believe that they are privy to secret knowledge that most people are not. This can be empowering, even if the beliefs themselves are based on misinformation. Others may be drawn to conspiracy theories because they distrust authority figures and institutions. They may see the government or the scientific community as part of a larger system that's designed to deceive the public. This distrust can be fueled by personal experiences, political ideologies, or a general sense of alienation. The moon landing conspiracy theories serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of critical thinking and evidence-based reasoning. In an age of information overload, it is more important than ever to be able to distinguish between credible sources of information and misinformation. When evaluating any claim, it is crucial to consider the source of the information, the evidence presented, and the potential biases of those promoting the claim. It is also important to be willing to change one's mind when presented with new evidence. Scientific literacy plays a vital role in combating misinformation. A basic understanding of scientific principles and the scientific method can help individuals to critically evaluate claims and make informed decisions. The Apollo 11 mission was a testament to human ingenuity and our insatiable desire to explore the unknown. It was a moment of unity and inspiration for people around the world. While conspiracy theories may persist, we must not let them diminish the magnitude of this achievement. Instead, let us use this as an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to evidence-based thinking, critical analysis, and the pursuit of knowledge. Let us continue to explore, to question, and to marvel at the wonders of the universe. And let us always remember the words of Neil Armstrong as he took that first step on the moon. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Keep looking up.